We have to laugh. David Lammy's been to the Caribbean. Nice, isn't it, when you can get away to the Caribbean to talk bollocks during a cold, damp winter? Anyway, he's over in the Caribbean shaking his stuff. He'll still be in them shitty trainers one day because he's got right bad feet. He's got feet like bloody claws. Anyway, he's talking about reparations, and generally the reparations they're looking for are trillions. Oh, thank God for that, because I thought it was going to be a lot of money. It's only 17.4 trillion, but there's negotiations in that will come down to 200 billion. What a relief there. I don't think it'll come to anything because Starmer hasn't sanctioned it. It's only the left. Diane Abbott's up for it because she did alt maths. Diane Abbott said actually she's thinking of putting a bus route to the moon because you can walk there, in 2 days. Diane's worked it all out. Sorry, but you can't let stuff like this get you down. What you've got to look at is the bonkers. What? What? How much? That's what my dad used to say every time I asked for an ice cream. How much? Don't waste any time over this reparations, because we are the people who actually stopped slavery. We are the one that drew it to a close, and it was the African countries that were as bad at slaving anybody as anywhere else in the world. How did they get them to the coast? They weren't. There were no, train links. But apparently the money is also about colonialism. Well, we know how bad that's been. Imagine going up with Africa and India and leaving them with hospitals and schools and grain stores. And unlike the French, when the French pulled out from their colonisation, they trashed what they left. They trashed everything. They burnt the grain stores, wrecked the hospitals. We didn't. We left them intact. And we even left people there to show them how to run them. So we're not as bad as people make out. And I don't agree with any reparations. I don't think we should be giving taxpayers' money to anything that happened 2, 3, 100 years ago. It's madness. Now, another topic that gets discussed a lot, and I'm glad to tell you I've got insider information on this, is the possibility of a pact between the Conservatives and the Reform Party. It's a no-go area for Nigel. If you want to stand with him, you have to come to his party and join the Reform Party. That's how he's standing it. Now, Gawain Towler, who used to be Nigel's strategist, is since been sacked. He'll make no bones about it, but not sacked in a bitter way. He's not doing podcasts about it. That's it. They don't need a strategist right now. Gawain's been stood down, happily, still friends with Nigel, he's friends with Ben Habib. And he's also in my WhatsApp group. How about that then? I have a WhatsApp group called Be Aware the Future, because that way it covers everything that anybody's scared of, and we just share stuff between ourselves. And go and put a link up to, I think it was the Spectator article, I'll just check. Yeah, it's the Spectator. Katie Bowles and Oscar Edmondson interviewed Gawain about the possibility of a pact. Now, the thing is this, Reform they're not jockeying this horse race. They're not interested in it. They don't need to go looking around for a pact. They've bit the bullet. They know they're a new party and they've got to get more MPs and more councillors. And in Thursday, there were 6 council seats up for election, and Reform got 3 of them and missed out on a 4th by 31 votes. So Reform, believe me, this isn't because I'm pro-Reform. This is just statistics. They don't need to go engineering some sort of pact. They're not the ones losing support. They're the ones growing all the time. And he did make me laugh in the podcast because he said, they were asking him about polling. And they said about, do you think basically Reform's reached the limit? So Gawain said, well, when they got to 10%, everybody said they'd reached the ceiling, then 13%, then 14%, then 20%. They're still growing. But I do have this, he said he does have this ethos that never believe a poll that makes you smile. That was quite funny. He said, but they've got me hilarious now. I'm hysterical. So if you can, just access the podcast. It's The Spectator with Katie Bowles interviewing Gawain Towler. And there's another bit about a restaurant, about how these MPs use this particular restaurant in London. It's like a kiss and tell about food, how much they spend, how long they stay there. Yeah, like you and us put a packed lunch up and use a Tupperware box to go to work. Well, they don't seem to do that in Westminster. They're like living it up. We're not surprised, are we? To sort of put you in the picture with what I think will happen with reform or the Tories, there's a lot of Tories who are conservative. So forget the Tories. Imagine the Tories being one brand like a Hoover. That's the brand, but really what they are is a vacuum cleaner. So the Tories are supposed to be Conservatives, but they're not, because the people that have ended up in the powerful positions in the cabinet, etc., have been pro-Remain or weak Brexiteers. So what you need is people who are genuinely conservative. If they're genuinely conservative, it shouldn't matter what background they're from. And obviously the vetting process will take care of it, because, you know, because of age, as I've said, Nigel will get one shot at this and he'll want to get it right. And he's obviously getting it right because, you know, the Tories, if they're even considering it, which they are, this traffic, this news about a pact, it's all being driven from the Tory end, not Reform. Reform aren't interested. Gawain tells you that. And, you know, I've spoken to him in WhatsApp since. He said, oh, no, there's nothing on the cards at all. But people may come across like Suella Braverman's husband. They didn't say, oh, no, you can't come and join Reform because you're married to Suella Braverman. They just let him join because he's a pretty good guy, actually. And he's actually, if I message him, he's quite responsive. So I think moving forward, you know, come on, why are these council elections being cancelled? Because they know they're going to lose. Because they know this is so anti-democratic. But you've got a leader who basically is so pro-EU, which is also anti-democratic. It's not just undemocratic, it's anti-democratic. There's a difference. They stamp out democracy. They're not interested in it. The parliaments are shamming in the European Union. They're told how to vote all the time. It's a whipped vote. Every single vote on every single thing. And believe me, there's a lot of votes because there's a lot of legislation. They are told how to vote. And that was in a documentary. And Nigel Farage explained it all. So I think moving forward, we are gaining strength all the time. That doesn't mean to say there aren't going to be things happening in the country that you're not going to like, because we aren't America. We haven't got our Doge under control yet. They certainly have. Some of the stuff they've been spending money on. In fact, there was something, I can't remember if it was 10 million or 20 million. We've been spending money, millions, this is Great Britain, on sending money to Ghana to put signs up to stop people defecating on the beach. In Ghana. Are you bothered about that? I mean, we've got them doing it in the streets of London. That's how far down society slipped. Because, you know, how often do you see it on thread, invite the third world, get the third world. But all is not lost, because we still have got a society worth saving. And that's why I do this. So I'm not kind of getting down in the mouth about it. Another topic, just a quick one. Some schools in Essex have been shut down on a lockdown, where kids were allegedly shown how to hide under desks and how to behave in an emergency. Probably just a drill. The very thought that you have to have a drill is just beyond belief, isn't it? I mean, when I was at school, it was a crisis. If the milk hadn't turned up by 10:30, do you remember you used to get milk in little bottles and they used to leave it in Allway and it was all damp and cold, and you used to get this little gill of milk to drink every day for free at school because you were all poor kids and they worried you'd get rickets. My mother used to make me save some of mine to bring it home for tea. But the thing is, school carries risks now because there are so many people from different factions coming to school with our kids that don't get on. They don't get on in their own countries, and they don't get on when they come here. And when they get to an adolescent age where they're in that, like, loads of hormones rushing around them, a lot of hotheads, things can go wrong. And then you've got the thing that's happened in Sweden, which is just hotheads from any background. And unfortunately, a lot of people on mind-controlled drugs, which is a worry. These young people just dishing out prescriptions for mind-altering drugs, done for the right reasons, I suppose, but not always with the right effect. We're living in very strange times, but the main thing to do is to not lose hope, because We are making progress all the time, every day. And you've only got to look at a rally. If you want to know what the future can be like, watch some old clips of any Reform Party rally and you will see a feeling of hope, you will see a buzzed up atmosphere, you will see people in a good mood, you will see people talking about policies that can work. This government hasn't got any policies. There's no policies. There's a montage video that the Tory party made showing about 17 different Labour MPs telling you before the election there was never going to be any tax hikes. No, we're not putting taxes up, we're not putting taxes up, we're not putting taxes up. They all said it, and what's happened? Taxes have gone up. So when we talk about misinformation, I think the government's more culpable in that than any of us lot ever were. So on that note, have a good Saturday.